Problem number 1 says, Bill is in a pie eating contest. There are 8,000 pies. Bill eats 6 pies every hour. How many days until he eats 1,000 pies? How many pies will Bill eat in 10 days? Fill in the table and write a now, next, and recursive rules for the problem. So, X represents the hour. So, hour 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when 0 hours have passed, he's eaten 8,000 pies. Then we just have to fill in the table.
That's weird, but if it's
Okay, so the table's filled in. Now we have to write now, next, and
okay.
recursive
Now we gotta
rules.
check over this one.
So for the now, next equation, next equals now minus 6, and the start is 8,000. Okay, I cannot write. 8,000. 8. You know what? No, forget it.
Oh my gosh, they're trainers.
Start is the 8,000. So he starts with 8,000 and then eats 6 pies every hour. The recursive rule, y equals -6 because he's eating pies. He's taking away from the total value. X, that represents the number of days, plus 8,000 because that's the start value. So, for the question, how many days until he eats 1,000 pies? So, we just have to plug that into our total value. So 1,000 equals -6x plus 8,000. So if you plug it in, you'll find that he eats He eats
read the problem and go through.
So he eats 1,000 pies in 6 days.
Do I have to go through the graph?
And for the second question, how many pies will Bill eat in 10 days? So we have to find
I do
out.
not know what to say. Do I just read everything that's here?
So we just have to plug that in again, except plug it in for X. So then what we have to do is, so then our answer would be 1440 pies. And that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 says Connor's house is infested with worms. He calls an exterminator who says the house was infested with exactly 11,679 worms. The exterminator kills 2% of the worm population every hour. How many hours until the worm count reaches 10,000? How many worms will be there after?
Will be there. Blah 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 blah.
Will there be after 17 hours?
I read this, and then how do I go
Fill in
through
the table and write now, next, and recursive rules. So you do the same thing again.
2020, the population.
So the first year, 0 years
After 0 years have passed, like in 2020, the population made this. And after 1 year passed in 2021, the population made this. I went through all of them.
So now wait, start equals, so the start now next equal whatever thing, is that recursive? Explain it.
That's recursive.
Okay, just so you know that. How do I need to go outside? What's recording? How do I delete that?
So that's our table filled in. Now for the now next and recursive rules. So next equals now times 0.02 because it's killing 2%. If 2% converted into a decimal is 0.02. And start
The number of zombies in 2020 decreases every year.
equals
If there are 2,000 zombies in 2020,
and then the recursive rule
300 will die every year.
y equals 1
So we have
1
our
6 7
table.
9 because that's a start value
Or in
times
2020, we have
0.98.
2,000 zombies.
That's how many
2021,
worms that it doesn't kill to the power of x. And that's
1,700 zombies.
That's problem number 2.
2022, we have
So,
1,400.
and then now the questions.
And
How many
now for
how many hours until the worm count reaches 10,000? So we just have to plug the equation into our calculator.
3,000.
And it will be
Start with 2,000 zombies.
7 to 8.
And it will be next
7
equals
to 8
now minus 300. And turn that to an explicit
there.
we have y
How many worms will there be
negative
after
300x plus
hours?
2,000.
So we just need to plug that in.
For our first problem, you have a group of survivors want to know if there will be any zombies left in the future. So they ask you for help. How many zombies will there be in 2000?
And we find that
So
the answer to
if we
question
plug in
2 is
if
8
we plug
to
in 2040, which would be 20 years
worms.
after.
A deadly virus begins in one person and kills 15% every day. How many people will be dead after 5 days? So here you have your equation. Y equals 1 times 15x. So let's go ahead and do the graph. So if we start with 1, and then our y would be 1. So then let's go and put all of the x. So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and 5 days. So 1 times 15 would be 15. And then 15 times 15 would be 225. 225 times 15 would be 3,375. And then 3,375 times 15 would be 5,000. And or 50,625, which I can't really read. Yeah, sure. And yeah, there's not really much else to explain. So if we put in for x 5 days, so that'd be y equals 1 times 15 to the 5th.
Problem number 3 wants us to write a noun
Would end up
next to
equal
his brother's name. And
y
his brother
equals
suggested him to use
1
super
times
killer bug spray, which kills
50,625,
15% of all cockroaches each day. And
which would answer your
his
question
brother's start
of
value is going
dead
to be the
after
same.
5 days would
His
be
brother's planned start value is going to be the same as his mother's planned start value because
625. A deadly virus begins in one person and affects 15 people every day. How many people will be affected after 5 days? So we have our equation here. So let's start with x. So you start with 0, 1. So after 0 days, 1 person is infected. After 1 day, we add 15, that would be 16 people. After 2 days, it would be 31 people. After 3 days, it would be 46 people. After 4 days, it would be 61. And let's add another one. And after 5 days would be 76. So if we take our equation, y equals 15x plus 1.
Wait, so for
We see from our table right here that after 5 days, 76 people would be infected. So we would put in 4x right here too. So 15 times 5 plus 1. Oops. Which would equal 76. After 5 days, 76 people would be infected.